to myself. Right? If I'm posting about it, it's like, oh, I just realized I wasn't measuring this, which means I'm not managing it, right? If I'm not measuring, and I think even what you talk about, Nina, hospitality, we think about food and beverage, and it's important, but because there's so many lessons that apply to life. Talk to me about there's a book that we do in our hospitality, Hardy Hospitality class. I have not read the whole thing, but I've read a lot of it. I just want to say it because Carrie is going to say she never finished the book. Anyway, great lessons in the book. But one of the things that it talks about this restaurant, Nina just want hers. Yeah. It talks about a new chef comes into this restaurant. And there's some old folks in there and there's some new folks in there. And he's trying to make some changes to get the restaurant to be what it's supposed to be. I think there's a show like this that I've never seen, The Bear that everyone talks about. But it is. But there's this group of folks that have been there. And they're like I've been here, I know this, I know where the stuff is. And then there's new folks with energy. And it talks about this mesh between people that have been there for a while, and they may have their opinions and all the things, and then the new energy, right? And trying to build a culture, a forward-thinking culture, a solution-based culture, when you have that there. And we talked about being strategic on when you bring in new people without dealing with some of the old. One of the things I'll never forget that he said, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, he had to make a decision, and there was one person, a staff member, and they were like, and he said, if I think about this staff member, I want to, you want to take care of your people. If I do what's best for them, right, then I'm actually not doing my job as a leader, because I cannot do what's best for them personally, right? Ideally, if I'm doing what's best for, I have to do what's best for the organization. I have to do what's best for this restaurant. If I do what's best for the restaurant, generally that includes taking care of my people, it means all of these other things. But you can't flip it. I can't say, okay, you, Joe, don't like to wear red, so no one's wearing red because Joe doesn't like to wear red, right? I have to think about the organization, the business, the entity. I want you to respond to that. What do you think about that?
You said a lot of things.
All right.
That's fine. So first of all, Unreasonable Hospitality is probably one of the best service books out. Will's amazing. I know a lot of you all, Hardy Hospitality alumni, have read it. Hopefully, actually fully read it, unlike Charity.
That's wild.
But lessons once again for life, not just food and beverage hospitality. And I think that to speak directly to the staffing piece, it's a cultural thing. And I think a lot of people miss that. Like, we kind of zero in on this, people not doing what we want them to do, not realizing that we're not creating a culture for excellence. We're not creating a culture for people to thrive and actually want to show up and be there. And I think that we sometimes, even in class, I know that when a lot of folks read the book, they're like, this sounds good in theory, but we don't have that kind of money, Madison Bar money. So how are we, creating what his theory around unreasonable hospitality is that do the thing that is unexpected. Go above and beyond. The bare minimum when somebody's paying you their money is service, because that is why I'm paying you, right? I don't expect you to be rude or mean, right? But the unreasonable hospitality piece is what differentiates those businesses that are legacy businesses that you will remember forever and never, right? Because they've decided to take it up to the next level. And honestly, it's really just doing what you would want somebody to do to you. In terms of the service experience, remembering your name, remembering your order, remembering that your daughter just had a sweet 16 and asking about it, like those little special touches, right? Those are all cultural things, right? And you have to actually invest in the culture that is your business. You miss that a lot of times because struggling, running around doing everything, every single role, and so culture kind of goes out the window. We don't even think about it. Like, you mention that, what's the culture of your business? Like, you're like, what do you mean, right? But even if you're not intentionally creating culture, you're actually creating a culture, right? And so the other piece of unreasonable hospitality is that it starts with your team. You cannot have this commitment to these people that are coming into your establishment, right? But you're treating your staff like crap, right? You're talking to them all crazy, you have no grace, you're not actually having them feel like they're a part of what's happening. So that investment is not as expensive as people think it is. I think people always think money, money, money. Even in Heart and Hospitality, I think we had one of our exercises, like how can we create a music hospitality moment this week, next week, right? Not a whole bunch of money. Sometimes companies do have a budget for it. You can call it any kind of, thing, a special moment. I forgot what we used to call that basketball. But like a moment that surprise and delight moment, right? Where you just do something out of the ordinary just to make them feel special, right? But why wouldn't you do that for your staff?
That's right.
These people are literally executing your vision. You cannot do it by yourself.
And ultimately, you want your staff to be doing those moments themselves, so they need to be able to understand and feel like what it is.
And that's the other piece too, is the empowerment piece. A lot of people miss, when we talk about these issues about our staff, what they're not doing, a lot of times too, there's a gap in the empowerment piece. If I feel like you're a warden that just wants me to do what you say, and I have no thoughts, and say, I'm not going to invest in you, I'm not going to invest in this because I don't feel like, I don't feel confident or safe to make a decision.
Right.
That's hard because this is your baby, right? And so, I know me, to speak for myself, I created something that's beautiful, right? That I'm proud of.
Yeah.
I have to relinquish some control and trust them, say, you know what, I've done the thing, allow them to do the thing. That is hard. Yeah. But what that does is it empowers them to be like, okay,
ownership.
Yeah, so now I can own this more. So now, one of my favorite things that I get feedback sometimes when we do events is, minus when I have on my chef dress. Because when I have on my chef dress, it's obvious, right? When I don't have on my chef dress, they're like, I don't even know whose company this was. That makes me so happy and so proud. Because that means that there's a level of, just like I feel confident to move forward with this thing that we are doing, as opposed to I work for you. That's never an energy or culture that you want to have in your establishment or in your organization.
Right. You want partners in the mission. I feel that way. I do two things, right? I have a coffee shop and then I have MBA, and in both ways I have team members. So I'm always thinking about it. It is very different though. It's different. It looks different at MBBA than it does at Rosa. Just different type of employees, different type of businesses or organizations. I think that what you're saying is so powerful. How do you get people to buy into the mission, right? And then what do you do when you've done all you can? That's the question, right? Because we're talking about what do you do I'm looking at April here. Sorry. April posted, she made a post on Facebook about staff, right? And like, what do you do when you have done all you can? What do you do when you've made it clear and you've done those things? So I'm giving you two questions. And it's supposed to be a fireside chat, so I'm gonna chat and ask, and maybe I'll chat in. But no, share. What do you do when you've done all you can? That's a Donnie McClurkin song. Come on, nigga. Will you? No. Because that happens.
Yeah. I think, double back. I think that we miss a lot of steps. So one of the things that we miss a lot of times as owner operators is that somebody doesn't do a thing and you're like automatically like, you gotta go, right? Yeah. I don't think we talking about. We talking about that. Sometimes that happens.
That's true.
Is that the most intelligent thing to do? I mean, because this is the other thing that as leaders, we have to put on our thinking caps all the time. There's no laziness. I mean, you have to always be on your P's. You have to be agile. You have to have the neuroplasticity to allow you to meander how you need to, right? And so you have a person that's not performing. Your first question or first action shouldn't be to terminate them or to, kind of go to that far extreme. We have to have conversations with these people that are running our businesses, right? A lot of times what we do in my industry, if I notice that a dishwasher is just not, something happened, he clocked out, used to be the best dishwasher, now I can't even get him to clean the most basic of dishes well. And like, what's going on? Like actually I think coaching is always skipped, to the, the action piece. What's going on? Like, what's happening? And 9 times out of 10, when you actually have a conversation with somebody that's not performing early on, not after they've been 2 years not performing, they are not satisfied where they are anymore. They want more, they don't know how to express it. They don't even know if they want more. They try to at least put them somewhere and see. You'll find out you got your best prep cook in the whole restaurant.
They're in the wrong spot.
They're
washing dishes.
You have to put your aces in your places, and in order to do that, you have to have conversations. You have to be always coaching. Like coaching is a huge part of leadership, and a lot of times people they skip the coaching and want to go to the authoritative, like you gotta go. It's like, well, what if you just actually talk to them and see what's happening? That's not always gonna work, but I feel like it should be at least a first resort. You have a hostess that she ain't hosting. Like he's not smiling. He's not
Walk on the rosa.
Yeah, exactly.
Y'all
Also,
can text me if it happens.
the thing is, how do these people get here? We have these attitudes about these people that aren't staffing, but it's like, who hired them?
How are we hiring?
You hired this person, and now you have an attitude about how they're not handling your business. How did they get here?
Yeah.
Unless somebody else is doing the hiring for you. So once again, mirror. Look in the mirror and see what are you doing when you're interviewing? How are you gauging these people that you're bringing on?
I think that's so good. So the coaching one is really key too, because I think no matter what, like there's a part of our job. This has been a theme all day that like entrepreneurship is bigger than the thing that we're doing, right? We are investing in people's lives, human resources, right? And so I think that coaching thing is key. How you recruit is, that's a lesson I've learned. Man, I'm hiring here when I need to be hiring here. That's one, and then asking questions that I'm asking. Sometimes I'll go back and say, I'm really looking for this type of characteristic. But even though you can do all of the hiring, I'm about to go back to ask you the same question. I'm just answering it if you need it. But you can do all of it, and then you still get the example that April gave was actually someone who had worked for her. I could say it because it was on Facebook. But somebody had worked for her for a while. They were struggling. They left. She rehired them, right? And it was still have these things. And I'll just say one thing that I think I see less of, to be honest. I mean, you probably see more in the hospitality industry, but maybe in spaces other spaces I'm in, I don't actually see enough of hire slow, fire fast. That's something that I learned when I worked at the city, and I still struggle. We all do, right? Because you love people and you want, but ultimately, what did David say when he said, we're not people's gods. And sometimes we have to release that notion, and that's not just for people you hire, contract. You've been working with this one vendor forever. You still not getting what you want, and money is bleeding, and you just I'm gonna have them fix my website again, but they not giving you what you want. We do like that being direct is hard, and I think we also feel this obligation to people and to things. And we're probably doing the opposite of what Will said in the book, which is like, if you have to do what was best for your organization today, thinking about where you're going, where you're trying to go, what would you do? The CEO, did you hear this? Okay, I saw this on Facebook. Was it on Facebook? Instagram. CEO of Netflix. Now this is a little extreme. Did you hear this? He went through his team and he said, who would I look at his entire team? Who would I hire today? And if the question was not, I would hire them today, I think he would go. Now, they might be lying on the internet, but I did see it. It was in my DMs.
Right.
But like that question, which is really like, it will transform, because, and again, I think, and I'm sure you see this, it comes from scarcity too. We don't have a lot of money, we don't have a lot of time, right? So we just like, I gotta hire because I got this order. I gotta get out, I need somebody to come in, right? And so we're making these quick decisions, but they have lasting impact on how we show up in the world. Yeah. I think the other thing is being okay with those hard decisions and having those hard conversations. Coaching can be hard sometimes. Not everybody wants to hear, how they're doing.
Not most people don't.
Most people, yeah.
But also, I think one of the lessons that is learned in entrepreneurship with this piece specifically is that, and I know speaking for myself, that most of us lack boundaries, or we have a very interesting relationship with boundaries. And when you are in this space, in leadership and in business, that has to be almost like your top skill, because it will create cancer for you. Like you are almost creating your own cancer because of your own lack of boundaries. And it's hard, but it's a hard lesson that you can learn early and pay it first before you get to, the level that costs you millions of dollars. But all these things we're just discussing around you know, they're not letting go. Even the vendors, like we have these weird loyalties to all the things. Like it's like let that thing go. It's not serving you. It's not even aligned with your mission and vision. I love that he said, "Who would I hire today?" Because that is huge. Because we grow and evolve, especially in some of our industries, at like almost monthly. Like in terms of how the trends are doing, how technology is just like, right? And so if you're not going and evolving, you're really creating your own death as a business owner. And so it's that's why we do evaluations, right? That's why we do, you know, our evaluations and our coaching conversations to see what to give people's heads, hey, you're still in the game with me, because as you grow and evolve, you have to have a staff or a team that matches the new vision, the evolved version of, you know, whatever it is that you where you are now. Because a lot of times we start this thing and it grows into this massive thing that we never even imagined, right? We pivot, we turn, we stop, we, like what David said, we create new entities. Are you aligned with the vision today? Are you enrolled with the vision today? And the other thing too that I want to say earlier is the enrollment piece. Life is an enrollment game, and so is running your business. And you can very clearly see when people are not enrolled in the vision. And that is a huge opportunity and lesson that I don't know how we master it. But if they're not enrolled in the vision that is your business, there's no point. Because at some point, you're gonna need to get rid of them. They can have a conversation that, you know, is supposed to be a coaching conversation that goes a whole different way, right? Because a lot of times those conversations reveal people's true intentions or capacity. And sometimes it's neutral. Sometimes people, you know, overstep and, you know, say and do things that are unprofessional or, you know, just things that you wouldn't imagine. But most times it's misalignment. And who can be mad at misalignment? If it's not aligned, then just move on.
I think that's real. Ooh, that hit home. I feel like, you know, one of the things that when you see that someone is not enrolled in your vision, I think and I think also coming from, like, you know, I led in government, I'm a nonprofit, I got a small business. It's also about what is the capacity of my current organization to deal with people, right? So for example, when I worked at the city of Detroit, I led a city department. I ain't got nothing but time, because all y'all gonna do is pay you're gonna pay your taxes, right? They're gonna get paid, the staff is gonna, so I have a little bit more time, patience, training. I can invest in that. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be investing in that when you don't have that, but you do have to know, I think, Kai and Amal know how much money, what resources you actually have. You might be at the place where, you know, I'm starting this company, I'm starting a marketing firm, I don't have, and every dollar I get is a client. So I don't have a whole lot of extra time or capacity to put you through a 6-month training for you to do that. It doesn't mean that that's wrong. I think go work like at a bank, financial institutions, they have that. Philanthropy, they got a lot of time, right? But knowing the capacity of the organization you run and saying, what do I actually have that I can invest in to really get the team that I need? Because it might be that you would be amazing on my team at the city, because I have this for you, I have that for you, but here, I don't have that, so I need you to come here and ready to run, because we're running right now. Today is run day. Today everybody running, and to be able to know where you are and where you're growing to. Obviously, you want to get to a point where you have more, but also different places move different speeds. Right? Philanthropy moves very slow. Right? They go on retreats just to think. Well, they do. They be like, well, we're at a thinking retreat. Like, wow, that must be nice, right? But given that, so what do you think, especially you working with a lot of food and beverage businesses too, who don't have a lot of time or resources, tips, thoughts of ways in which you can build a culture that helps to execute your vision, but also tips when you realize, you know what, we are misaligned, and maybe I just need to have a harder conversation. You know, what do you, just tips for the team and for vendors. Like, look at when those contracts end. Don't just automatically let it. You know. Oh.
No, I think that one of the steps that is missed most often that I see in working with folks in my industry is the training piece.
Yes.
You just said sometimes you get people to come ready to run. That's not really a thing. It sounds good on paper, but because of the fact that everybody's organization business is unique in and of itself, you have to have training. There's no There's no way around it, and in my professional experience before I, started just kind of like doing my own thing full time, one of the things that I noticed that separated the most amazing companies that I worked for, was training. I'm talking about you trained for 3 weeks, right? And I'm like, feel like I can run this joint, like, after training, and did, right? But what I always admired was the investment. I think that once again, when we're thinking like this and we're,
But what do you do? So I want to challenge you for a minute. So, if I look at Roosevelt account today, where, how, with 3 weeks training?
No, I'm not saying the time. I'm saying the commitment to the training. It has to happen however it happens.
Right.
We're not thinking like
Right.
that.
So give me some creative ways that if I'm a coffee shop on my last, I'm a coffee shop. That's rare. Coffee shop. 1, 2, 3.
Start with an R.
Rhymes with Noza. No, seriously. The reason why I'm saying it is because these things, I get it, right? We all get it, but what is the practical thing? When I leave here and I know that it's, $20 in the account and I need my team to work, how do I have some ideas, but I want you to share, like, this practical, what you've seen, scrappy, small businesses without that background, how do they do it? How do you do it?
I mean, I think, there's a number of things. Let's talk about not the $20 bank out, because that's a little bit.
That's why it happens sometimes.
It does.
I'll be on coffee today.
The higher possibilities, right? I think that in 2026, there's no reason why we are not using technology.
All day.
So honestly, like, to be real, any excuses around not having capital for things, when it comes to these types of things, I'm like, you don't want it that bad. You don't want to train your team that bad if you're telling me in 2026 that you can't get creative with all the tools that we have to figure it out. Now, I will say, from my perspective, being a solopreneur that runs a company that is, not solopreneur capacity, right? There's a lot of pieces, right?
Yeah.
So, but you have to stop. You have to stop and have to audit. This is what I'm doing in Hardy Hospitality, how we've curated now, is every week is an audit. We're auditing every single system that you have, because how do you know what you need if you don't even know what you have, right? And that learning curve sometimes is painful, like to onboard on new software, like it's months. I've been through 2 softwares and now on the second one it's still been months. But once that thing is in there, right, game changer. You're talking about increasing revenue 200, 300%, right? But you have to be committed. The commitment is the first thing, because you figure it out. There's enough people working, we figure out a lot of things, okay? So I can't accept that. You have to be committed to it, and you will figure it out.
And you can do training during shifts, right?
That's on-the-job training is what we do in our industry, right? Separately from like you're a manager's position or whatever. But the other piece is using technology to get it done. For instance, we use Connect Team, which I absolutely love. Saved my life because I was trying to find a solution to be able to schedule, to be able to communicate, to be able to, create some kind of camaraderie and community, right, within my team. Found Connect Team. They have spaces in there that you can train. You literally create the training, put it in there, when you onboard them, they go to the training if you're a bartender, if you're a cook. Now, once again, is it done yet completely? No. There's 90 other million things that have to be done, right? But it's a start, and that learning curve to even train a team that has not been doing this thing very consistently, that's a whole nother ballgame. But you have to start with the intention to be solution oriented, to figure it out by any means necessary.
Love it. AI, right? Ask Chat. Chat will tell me, I got 30 minutes and I need training on this. Or this is a problem I'm seeing with my team. Help me to walk them through. Using staff meetings to talk about time management or issue conflict resolution. Books also is another thing that I use. Like, hey, I think 5 Dysfunctions of a Team is one of my favorite books. It's excellent. And my team probably tired of it. It's a pyramid. Like, where we talk about it because it's so real. But those are other ways, free ways to.
And one of the things that we do in our industry a lot, that I don't know if people, I've been in this industry my whole adult career, so I don't know what happens in other places, but pre-shifts, huge. Every single shift, because things change from lunch to dinner, right? Whole different vibe in the restaurant between lunch and dinner, right? But during a pre-shift, you can literally have the training that you need to have for the day. If you're doing that every day, guess what? You're doing a lot of training. When I was BJ's restaurant, Blue Grill, we would literally, before the shift, each shift, I would put in a drink, put in a meal, right? anonymously, so they didn't know that it was me. When I ordered it, I had my whole team, front of the house, back of the house, literally stand in front of the line at Expo and critique the dish, taste it, because if they never taste how you sell something, you'll know what they think. I hate when I go to a restaurant, I don't know, you don't know nothing, you don't know nothing, how one thing tastes and what it is. So now you know, what is that, why is that there, why is it
Spicy,
yeah. Or, oh, that has cilantro, was supposed to have parsley. You have to take these moments, that costs the company nothing, and it makes them, once again, feel like, okay, one, they love the free food, obviously, people love free food, but this inclusion in this process that we're doing, this thing is, what we do in these, I know y'all go to restaurants and I think it's a lot. It's probably one of the most stressful careers that you can have, you know, so I think that when you include, just like when you include your kids and stuff, it gives them a sense of pride, and then you make them accountable as well. Because now you know what that's supposed to look like, right? You know what it's supposed to taste like. So now we can hold each other accountable. You can have a bartender go grab a dish like, hey, line cook, you missed the, oh, thanks, bro. Boom. Yeah. Whole different culture than, I don't know, you take like,
I just make the drinks. I don't do no food. I just get to the table.
So definitely pre-shift. I don't know what they would be called in other industries, but.
Well, stand-ups, we do them, like, stand-up, 5-minute, you know, check-in, yeah?
And actually checking in. The other thing too, people, show your people that you care about them. Like, actually care about them beyond what they're doing for you. If somebody feels like they're just your workhorse and they're only labor to you, how do you create any other culture environment other than them coming in? They don't want to be there. They don't even like you. And you mad about them not running your business properly, they don't even like you.
Yeah.
So let's start with the thing, right? Care about people. Like, you want them to care about your customers, but you don't care about them. That math doesn't work very well, and it's not sustainable.
Great conversation.
So, Unreasonable Hospitality, you said is your favorite book. What is, if there's like one lesson?
I would say my favorite book.
One of the best books. One of the best. If there's like one lesson from this book about hospitality and leading teams, what would it be? I only made it to like page 100.
You know. I think that my personal interpretation of the book and what Will's whole philosophy is how I kind of live my life anyway, which is why it resonates with me. And it's leave every space, every person, every establishment, every opportunity better than you found it, right? And that's what I feel like we're called to do anyway. And so when you apply that to your business, be it a restaurant, be it real estate, it doesn't matter what it is, you're always gonna leave an impression on it. People always remember how you make them feel. Even if your food is nasty sometimes, let's be honest, because a lot of times people think their food is good, it's not. But if you like literally, I saw Putu the other day, we had this, you didn't come to the thing. We had a huge event on last Saturday with Impact Network and Target, and 800 some people, insane, beautiful event.
How'd the coffee go?
It was good. I like
No, and she did. She called me for it. Anyway.
No, Derek did good.
Okay.
Also, we had 8 MBA members representing.
Awesome.
I'm very, very proud of that. But I thought she was going to take a break to eat because we had literally been up since about 5 in the morning, and we're like that last stretch. And she doesn't normally eat on the shift. So I'm like, you about to go eat? She's like, yeah, no. And then I was like, I found out later that she was making, mind you, we were all in the back of church. Church is huge, massive church. So she was making a plate for a guest that wasn't even supposed to be back there to get that food. Because you know, we have these big events, we have, you know, you have this in the green room, we have that in the cafe. So she was making a plate for someone to bring it to them all on the other side of the church. I'm just like, that is unreasonable hospitality. Because the average person will be like, oh no, that's not for you. But have a nice day. Yeah. You can go get that little box thing over there, right? But it's once again getting into the space of how would I want to be handled and treated in this moment. And even some people are very like nonchalant, they don't care about stuff. But for the most part, even if you're not the type of person that desires that, when you feel it, you're like, well, damn. It makes you feel like, okay, now it creates a certain level of loyalty, a certain level of like, when I think of X, Y, and Z, I'm gonna call them because I remember how they make me feel. I'm gonna tell them they need to, you know, get some better linen or, you know, maybe, you know, switch the flowers, right? But I know that because when it's like in our industry, if you're having an event, right, and you're hiring a caterer or a team to do food service, they're handling your guests.
Yes.
So why would you want somebody that is not representing, you know, what you are trying to embody in this experience? So yeah, that's what I was saying.
I think that's so key, and I know we're at time, but I think it's so key, no matter what the industry is, at the end of the day, we wanna deliver excellent customer service, that's how you get repeat customers, right? That's how you get the sales, that's how you make the money, so you can sell the business, like, that's the whole point. But we can't do it, we have instruments of our work, right? That's our employees, they are actually the face of the mission. And so, thank you for that, thank you for sharing that, Nina. I wanna be Oprah today, but I don't have no cards to give you. But I do have a book for you, so we're gonna give you guys a book, Unreasonable Hospitality. You get a book, if you wanna just raise your hand, we're gonna just.
And read it past 100
Yeah.
pages.
Right.
And if you have it already, don't raise your hand.
If you already have the book, yeah, it's really good.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, no, I thought you were telling me to get you.
How you don't read?
Oh, I got.
Thank you.
Oh, period.
Charity. Thank you.
Okay, yep.
But it already got some nice little houses.
Yeah, I think we're done.